back, everybody, but especially welcome to Vaughn. I don't know if you can see him on your screen there, but Vaughn, you can say hi.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good
Morning.
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 And
Welcome,
welcome
Vaughn.
to
Welcome.
Lily, who's here. And um, I want to talk about two things probably for the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. And that is, I want to talk both about the Youth Corps, but also about the event that's going to come up on the 23rd. And I'd like to give Vaughn and Lily a chance to talk about Youth Corps, and then let's talk together about how this game day might be something that the Westminster community would like to be a part of. Lily, do you want to introduce Vaughn and just say a word about that? And Vaughn, introduce yourself, or
Yeah, great. Morning, everybody. Well, everybody, this is Vaughn Albert. I've known Vaughn for maybe 7 years? I don't know, a long time now, since he was a senior at Albany High. And Vaughn is our leadership camp director currently, and actually moving in to be our program director at Camp Wawa, which is a program that I've run for the last 8 years. And yeah, Heather and I connected at the end of the summer, just talking about need for teens and leadership development. And Vaughn is a really an exceptional youth leader, and also just someone who has put in a lot of work in the last couple of years, in particular, really thinking about service leadership, youth leadership development, and how can we think more innovatively about leadership, and how do we connect teens to that thinking, and really help to develop their skills and help them see their qualities, and really put that kind of stuff to action. I've been really inspired to watch his growth at our summer camp program. And then the Youth Corps has just been completely amazing, I think, and also really fun and by the seat of our pants in some ways. But in I think really good ways, like very much in the moment. So thank you, Vaughn, for joining us. And do you want to share a little bit more about what brings you into youth leadership, and then the Youth Corps itself, what you guys do?
Yeah, so thank you, Lily, and good morning again to everyone. So like she said, I've been working at a summer camp alongside Lily for like, I think 8 years now, I think is the number. So the past 2 years, I've been in the CIT program or the leadership camp program. So I work with like ninth and 10-year-olds, or ninth and 10th grade, uh, like high school students, teenagers. And so my work there has been developing their leadership skills, their engagement with like the broader camp community. And now we've brought that into the Youth Corps, which is basically all of that, but now we're doing it here in Albany. And they get to engage more publicly because at camp we're more isolated. There's no phones, no service. And so all that work we do that goes back into camp. But now we're our challenge now is getting them to engage more with the community. And so part of that is developing their leadership skills, which we've done a lot of over the past few months with the teenagers. And we've done like a few events where the teens themselves have engaged, have facilitated activities, and they've learned a lot throughout these past few months. And really engaging with them has been a very rewarding experience over these past few years, especially this like particular age group that doesn't have a lot of the social skills yet or leadership skills to kind of really thrive and engage with the communities that they live in. And so I find it very like inspiring and useful that we get to do a program like this. And so I thank Heather, Lily, the whole church community for like presenting this opportunity. And we hope that this can continue for a while. At least I hope so.
Vaughn, you're very modest, but would you say a word about your background and like I don't know what your day job is and what your life is about right now?
Yeah, so I in my current day job, I work with like the elderly population. So I currently work at the St. Peter's Nursing Rehab Center. And I've worked at other facilities that where we take care of the older population. And so in a lot of ways, that kind of work translates to work with youth because they're both like high need communities. And so the work transitioning from one or the other isn't very difficult. And both ways it's very rewarding. I enjoy both groups. They're both very funny, very engaging. It's always fun to work with both groups, no matter what time of the year it is, whether it's at camp, whether it's in my everyday life at a nursing home or assisted living center. And I took a few semesters at UAlbany studying public policy and administration, and so that just tells you about like my work in education. And at the current summer camp that I work at, Camp Wawasegoya, um, I just recently took up the position of program director. So I'll be transitioning from specializing in the teen group to now working with the entire camp population and running programs and activities, which is something that I get a lot of training from with the youth corps, and the CI and just working at camp in general. So yeah, that's all about me, kind of what I've done so far in my life.
And would you say a word about who's been, how many kids are showing up for Youth Corps right now? I know specifically that there are 5 kids from the Westminster community who have been involved because we've got Caleb, Ajay, and Emmanuel Barnes, and Andre Ashburn, and Salar, whose last name is Kumi. I get the whole last name wrong, but Joyce's son Salar has come a little bit. And also now Katie Sir's son Colin, who's Peter McKee and Lynn McKee's grandson, has been coming and really, really, really loves Youth Corps. And tell me about the rest of the crew that's there.
Yeah, so in total, I believe we have near 15 teams that at any point could show up to a single meeting. And a lot of them we actually pulled from the summer camp that Lily and I both work at. So from just the summer camp alone, we have around, I don't know the exact number, it's like close to 10, I would say. And some of them are my own family members that were old enough and were eager to join. We have volunteers that also come in to kind of help facilitate activities with the group. And then I have a team of like 2 other co-facilitators who are great at their job, work with teens and children in their daily life. And so I think we've put together like a really solid program, like a mix of people from Westminster, Camp, all around Albany and the capital region. And so we've blended like really well together. And so that's kind of like the strength of our program is, blending all of that diversity together and just like, I don't know, getting together to learn, engage, have fun. Like one of the number one rule at camp is to have fun. And I feel like we try our best to bring that to the youth corps as well.
I love that that's a rule.
Yeah.
Well, let me open it up to the room for people to ask Vaughn or Lily questions about Youth Corps. Anything come to mind that you'd like to hear a little bit more about? Yeah, Carolyn, go ahead. And I have muted everybody, so you'll have to unmute.
Yeah, so both of you really, hello Lily and Vaughan, delightful to hear you speak. I'd like to know a little bit more about what the activities are and if there's opportunities for people from the wider Westminster community to participate at all.
Yes. So in general, we have meetings on Sundays where the activities are like new games that the youth are learning. Tonight we have a teen night where the teens are bringing in their friends, are coming in to play games that they've already learned. We teach them leadership skills too. So the CIT program that I've been running for the past 2 years, there's a book that I use, and I've kind of translated that lesson planning to the youth corps as well. And that's how we structure like all the meetings and our activities. And I'm just kind of like just translating what I do regularly to these youth corps program, this youth corps program.
There's also always dinner.
Yes, always food.
And in direct response, Carolyn, to your question about how the Westminster community could support the Youth Corps, is we've been passing the responsibility around for dinner from Lily and her dad, who's awesome about it. The Ashburns have been making dinner sometimes. I've made dinner sometimes, and sometimes we have bought pizza. But we would really love having just just having a volunteer occasionally either buy or bring in dinner or some portion of dinner or even just cookies or whatever, and it is totally cool to bring them in on Sunday morning and leave them with a note in the refrigerator that it's for Youth Corps. And I have really found that my husband loves to bake, and this has really been a very difficult cross to bear to be able to eat all of what. No longer do I have to worry about leftovers. I just bring everything to Youth Corps, and they will eat it all.
Oh,
All the cakes, all the cookies, all the bars. They just will go away. So consider that part of their service to you and your family. But we'd love to have a little support with that dinner. Any other other comments, questions?
I just want to add really quickly, because I do think, Vaughn, that sometimes you're very humble when you talk about leadership development. To your question, Carolyn, one of the things that I really like about working with Vaughn on leadership development is just how much is very intentional in terms of really thinking about how do we take something that is often, I guess, very lofty, right? When we think about who gets to be in charge and what it is that you need to be the boss or to be the head person in something. I think, Vaughn, you've done a great job of really studying it. And that book that Vaughn brings in is from an awesome facilitator that we've taken trainings with, and just really thinking about at the teenage level, how can we start busting apart these concepts and how can kids start practicing things, and also just really recognizing the qualities they already have. And then thinking about how do we get to move into a place where I have more confidence, or I already know that I have these skills and I can share them, or I'm recognizing the worth in what I bring into the space. But just really, it's almost, I think, like an inside out look on leadership development. And I think it has a great impact for all teens that get to come in contact with it, including kids who maybe might think, that's not for me, but really seeing that it starts inside them and gets to move out into their communities really naturally and with plenty of support.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I'm guessing when you talk about games, you're not doing hockey down at the plaza, but other types of games. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we do have a game very similar to hockey. We call it Pillow Polo. And so we'll be playing that this tonight and next weekend. It's a game where it's very modified, very safe for indoors. We have sticks with, like, I guess, pillows. I guess that's where Pillow Polo comes from, the name. And so it's padded on the end. So if you hit someone with it, not much damage at all. You have like a foam ball, 2 goals, so it's 2 teams. So that's one that they've learned. A popular one at the church is sardines. It's like a big game of hide and seek or manhunt, where one person goes to hide, the rest of the group goes to find them. We've taught a lot of the kids brought in games that they already knew, like card games or um, games from camp, like A Great Wind Blows, which is a great icebreaker to help the kids get to know one another. And a lot of the kids have like succeeded in being able to facilitate these games. And that's one of our big goals on our checklist is for them to be able to kind of lead on their own, bring other people in, teach them so that now a whole new group of people understands and knows how to lead these same games.
Oops.
And I think one of the things that's part of the program and having those 2 hours and being able to have dinner is also getting to sort of step outside these things, right? So if we're using Pillow Polo, getting to look at like, why are we using that? What are the things that bring people together and why, and what is our role in that? So we have seen actually a lot of success sometimes doing things that are very maybe easy, like what are the ins for the teens? So if they like to be active, what are the easy active ways that they like already to engage? And then how do they sort of like meta pull themselves out of that and think about who else would want to be engaged, and how do they bring people in, and how do they make things accessible? And who would that not be accessible for? What else are we doing? What else are we providing? So that they're getting to think about it from a facilitator side, not just from a participant side.
Yeah, Paul?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Over for many years, I did a lot of group facilitating activities for adults and kids, and I'm wondering. I assume you probably do a lot of experiential learning. You have an activity, and then you sort of analyze it and debrief it, and see, having to do with communication and shared leadership and that sort of thing. Some formal experiential learning, but then reflecting on it and how you interact with each other and what's going on, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So the book, like we said, that we use to help facilitate training for staff at camp and for the teens as well, has a lot of that. We've done two of those kind of experiences recently. One was an active listening, like kind of training or activity where I would partner teens up, and one of them, partner A, would draw a picture of their house. Partner B would be able to replicate that drawing by asking questions, looking at the picture, and then they would switch. They would do it a second time. Partner B is now drawing their house, except this time the caveat would be that partner A, they're sitting back to back. And so partner A can't look at the picture this time. And so they have to ask questions, have to use their listening skills to kind of draw out the design that they think their partner has on their paper. And so that's always a big hit with the teens. They enjoy it because it's like a very slight challenge, but you have to do a lot to kind of succeed in that activity. And we have another activity or lesson where we list out, first I ask them what they think skills are, or what they think good leaders, like skills that they possess, right? And so we write down a list, and I don't really say anything. They kind of just share out. And then as we go through it, I help them differentiate whether that's a skill or a quality. And so they have to look at that and kind of think, oh, have we been giving these leaders qualities instead of identifying the skills that they possess? And if we want to gain those leadership skills, we have to be able to differentiate skills and qualities. And so we do a lot of that, and the teams have really picked up on it. So yeah, the answer to your question is yes, we do a lot of that, and it has been successful in my opinion with these teams so far. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Can you
Oh,
tell
can
me
you
what
unmute?
the plans are for going out into the greater community?
Yeah. So as far as we have done so far, we've done two bigger like events outside of the youth corps, where we had that Thanksgiving dinner, and then we had a youth retreat with Belinda from the church. And Belinda, I feel, deserves a lot of credit for her help with the youth corps. But in terms of engagement with the community, we see that during the Thanksgiving event back in November, I believe, uh, the kids themselves were able to help lead like a station where they were doing like cards where people were writing down what they were grateful for. Next Sunday will be a game day. This will be the second time we've done game day, but the first time that the youth corps will be engaging in it, where during game day we teach the community like a broad variety of games. So the community gets to learn from these teams, and the teams get to learn how to like engage in the community by teaching, what might seem like random games, but could be helpful in like community building. And so one of our other like goals and aspects of the youth corps is engaging with the community and building community through learning, games, and their work in learning leadership skills.
One thing that Lily and I were sort of envisioning when we first started talking about this program is that the youth court in a way is like um becomes staff for the Westminster Commons. That so we have like a built-in application of everything that the youth are working on. It's almost like a microcosm of what we're trying to do at the Commons, of pulling people together who come from different places and creating a sense of possibility through um, a sense of belonging. Like when people begin to feel like they connect and belong to each other, they can take risks and engage with each other in ways that they wouldn't otherwise. And that's what we feel like we need to do in the community as a whole. So not only are the kids learning skills, like I can teach somebody how to play a card game, even if they don't speak fluent English, you know, and I'm ready to do that because I've practiced. But then also the sort of ethic within the youth corps is exactly what we're trying to do at with the Commons in general, with build a sense of belonging that is sort of the basis for civic engagement and creating that sense of same shared purpose.
And there's also a teen night tonight, which is a first for them. So they're kind of practicing game day by being able to invite their own teen friends into the space that they've been in. And these kids are all from like different parts of the area, different high schools. Some of them go to the same high schools, but there's not too much repetition, right? I mean, there's a few more that go to Albany High, but otherwise they're from different communities when they're not at youth corps. So tonight they get to bring their friends. They've had some great thinking around outreach. And I think all that kind of stuff is going to grow. The more confident, the more that their unit grows, the more they're organically going to start to be able to really think about, the outreach piece and ways that they can extend the impact.
As you listen to this, I hope that you, like me, you just feel so proud that something like this can come out of our church community. It's really a terrific program, and I'm not putting anybody else down, but when as we started talking about teen night, I was thinking, oh well, let's see if some of the other focus churches would want to bring their youth groups over to teen night. So I called up the one of the two ministers over at Delmar Reformed and said, "Oh, you want to come over? We're going to have this teen night. Bring the youth group over." And he said, "Yeah, about the youth group, we don't have it. It's not functioning. That youth group kind of died at COVID, and we've not been able to bring it back." And that youth group used to be a very dynamic youth group. Three churches together come together in Delmar for this youth group. It is not meeting. And other churches that I have talked to, they just don't have a youth group anymore. And I'm so proud that we have this. And a lot of it is thanks to you, Vaughn, with your commitment to the program and your vision and purpose every single week showing up. It's funny, when Vaughn first got the group together, one of the things he did was survey everybody for how often they would like to meet. Vaughn, you want to say what the results of the survey were?
Yeah, so I could definitely tell from like the first meeting, just kind of like engaging with them. A lot of them were like skeptical and a little nervous, but more than half, I think half of them were willing to meet at least twice a month. We have a teen who on their surveys, so gave them multiple choices, once a month, twice a month, uh, and I forgot the other choice, but they basically went out of their own way to write in they wanted to meet like 2 to 3 times a week. They really enjoyed it from the get-go. And this was a camp kid as well, but they're local to Albany, and I think they are part of the Westminster
It's a
community
church
too.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was really happy seeing that, just that one response, but the overwhelming like majority of them were more than willing to meet at least twice a month. And I think that was important, kind of like getting off on the right note, getting that momentum early on. And it's definitely carried over the past few months. We started in October and we still have like great engagement to this day. And so yeah, that was like the impression that we got the first meeting.
We had one snow day and I thought they have a WhatsApp group. The kids have a WhatsApp group, which is how they poll like who's coming, how much do we need for dinner. And we had to cancel a couple weeks ago because one of these little snowstorms that you can't tell what's going to happen. And oh man, the kids were so bummed. And then they started
were.
telling jokes to each other. It was really, really sweet. But yeah, they really love it. It's a huge testament to you, Vaughn, and what you're doing. And it's just a really great group of kids. They're very fun. If you'd like to cook them dinner, please let me know. They're eaters. So if you like to please teenagers, they're going to be grateful, and they eat a lot of food.
A lot of food. Now, some of you may be asking yourselves, but wait, I didn't see a whole new budget item in the 2025 budget covering this fantastic new program where we are not only hiring Vaughn, but 2 assistants and occasionally paying for pizza. You may be wondering where those funds come from. And we have had sitting in Westminster's designated funds a gift that came from, it was actually from Tom McFeeters a number of years ago. I think, well, Forrest might correct me, but I think it's before my time. I think it was 7 years ago that Tom gave this fund, and he called it the Albany Impact Fund because he was hoping that Westminster would do something that would be like a creative partnership that would have with somebody or some other church or some group, preferably in the South End, that would have an impact on the city. And we just have never come up with that project. And it's always bothered me that we have this gift that's sitting there, really seed funds for something and have never done anything with it. So we have put together a budget that funds the youth corps entirely out of the Albany Impact Fund this year, which I'm really excited about. But if we want it to continue after this year, we will have to either fundraise or put it within the Westminster regular annual budget, or get really, really creative about how to do it. So we had good seed money, but we will have to work on sustaining it in the future. Judy?
I would add to that I think Vaughn and Lily could make that a project. If you like coming as leaders, future leaders of your community, you need to learn about how do you pay for things. And it doesn't have to be heavy-handed. It doesn't have to be hard-hearted. It can be a learning experience to figure out, yeah, I love to go on vacation, but who pays for the bus or the airplane? Dinner isn't free. It's free to you, but somebody paid for dinner. And you can build that into your conversations and your leadership development, in my view. That's a dynamite way to get them involved and encourage them to think about, is this really valuable to me? How much commitment would I make? Could I go? How can we fundraise? What can we do? I think that's a huge creative opportunity.
All right. Chris? Oh, sorry. Go ahead and unmute. Chris?
Chris,
we
you're
need you to
muted.
unmute.
We
Unmute.
can't
we go.
hear you,
I can't
Chris.
find my hand raising thing. Lily,
There you
can I
go.
have your email so I can send you a note about doing dinner?
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna put it here.
Great.
There we go.
Lily Smith Park. Okay.
Okay, so just the last comment before we wrap up today is just I want to highlight to you that we are having a game day, which is a Westminster Commons event that is happening next Sunday, February 23rd, from 4 to 6. And I just want to emphasize that this game day is open to everybody, including members of the Westminster community. And the way it plays out, we did it once before, and we're going to slightly modify our schedule from the way we did it last year. I think in April last year we had one, right? April?
Yeah.
And we're going to start with in the fellowship hall, all of our round tables has a different host, and there's different games at each table. And our conversation club has gotten really into Go Fish, and they are going to play Go Fish, and everybody is welcome to join. And also, they have a game that they play that's called Left, Right, Center, which I tell you, if the 3 English words you have are left, right, and center, you can play this game. We'll have also Uno, which is a favorite of some folks in the conversation club. But then we also have our youth corps who's going to they play a game called Garbage, which is a lot of fun, and a few other things fun. I don't know what all of the card games you play are. One involves spoons, which I don't understand how that one works.
Yeah, spoons. Yeah, it's a very fun game. It's kind of like it's similar to musical chairs, except there are spoons in front of everyone as you're playing. The goal is to get 4 of a kind of a card, and the pile will kind of like will pass like cards on to each other in a circle, and whoever gets 4 of a kind first grabs a spoon, and then once that happens, it's chaos. Everyone else has to grab a spoon before there's only one person without a spoon, and it goes round by round, so you get eliminated. So it's an elimination game. So it gets very competitive. Played a lot at camp as well, and the kids like it. They love it. So we'll have fun teaching it.
Yeah, so each one of the tables will have a different game. Some of them more cutthroat than others, although you would be surprised at how serious you can get about Go Fish. And then after about 40 minutes of people coming in, mixing, mingling, everybody's welcome, find a place to sit down, learn a game, get up, try a different table, find another game, etc. Then we're going to come all together, and we're going to have a little bit of a game that's in the whole group that I think Lily and I will facilitate, I'm hoping. And then we divide again, and it's pillow polo in one room. No one gets injured, but it is a very active game. It's like hockey with Nerf balls, basically. And then in the other game, we're playing bingo, which was a massive hit last year, and there will be prizes. So, any age, any ability, any language ability, wherever you are at, you're going to be able to participate in game day. And I've been talking to my usual network of community groups who help me get the word out about Westminster Commons events. And wow, have people talked about how much they need something like this, and about how at this moment when there's so much division and so much of a sense of like a lack of safety in our community as we're around each other, to find a place where actually everybody could be together. There was a webinar this week about social integration of immigrants in the community. And they said it's just so important that there's some sort of place where people work on some sort of common project between new Americans and longstanding residents of the US. And this is like a big problem that there isn't sort of this sense of, some sort of common project, and how we should all come up with ideas like community service projects. And I was like, wait, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're having a social integration activity on Sunday afternoon. And it also includes, a lot of people who come to the Focus Breakfast come around to these events on Sunday afternoon, in part because there's hardly anything open on Sunday afternoons, and there's very few activities, and there's almost no place where you can get something to eat on Sunday afternoon in downtown Albany. So can you imagine, we're going to get all those people together and we're all going to, play bingo and pillow polo and go fish and garbage. And that's the thing that's giving me hope and energy right now. And I hope that it's something that excites you as well, because it feels like just about the only thing that's giving me hope and energy at the moment in our community. Vaughn, Lily, any closing remarks?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone for giving me this platform and opportunity to speak about Youth Corps. We've had a lot of fun with it. Thank you, Lily and Heather, and just the entire Westminster and Focus community for being able to help facilitate and host us. I promise we'll keep working towards the development of these teens and the teen program. It's been very rewarding, so I hope that we can continue to give as much as we've received. Thank you again.
Yeah, I love working on this. Thank you both so much. And I want to say I was a teen at Westminster, got to be a part of a great youth group. So I know some folks got to be a part of that era too. So it's so fun to see it like back at church. And I just want to add on, I love the opportunity with this youth opportunity to have us engage together intergenerationally. So I just really encourage people, if you're free next week, show up, partly because the kids are putting this on and they want it to be successful. And it's an opportunity for you to show up and just play a game with them, hang out with them, and really be with them in the things that they enjoy. I think for teenagers, that's really important. And this is just a great opportunity for us to do that. And kind of, yeah, join them on their playing field, I think goes a long way with teens in terms of them staying part of our community, and knowing how much we value them.
Yeah, it gives you a sort of a little piece of a shared story to have with a kid if they taught you how to play spoons, and then, you got the spoon first in one round, then you got something to laugh about every time you see that kid. So yeah, it's a great way to start building a connection with a kid who you don't know that well, which is so much of a part of what makes a church a community, is we get to become each other's extended family. Okay, friends, thanks so much for your attention. Thanks, Vaughn. Thanks, Lily. I was wondering, Vaughn, if you were going to cancel tonight, but it sounds like there would be a riot if you did. So we'll be sure that there's pizza over there, and be safe, and I'll make sure that things are salted around the door. But hopefully it's not too treacherous by the time you drive over.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe.